Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. After a long day of work, I'm sure you all just want to go home and cook something healthy, easy and delicious meal. Fear not, this is exactly what I'm going to show you in today's video. We're going to cook Malay style MASAK LEMAK UDANG chili api, literally translate to prawn, cooked in fat and chilies. Don't worry, the fat that we're referring to is the healthy fat that comes from the coconut milk. The coconut milk is the key ingredient to create a delicious and creamy sauce for this dish. This recipe is so simple that you only need a few ingredients and will take just 20 minutes to prepare. Without further ado, let's go! So, for the spices, we are only going to need 5 ingredients. Here I have 30 grams of fresh turmeric. These can easily be found at any oriental stores, usually at the vegetable section. You can also store them in the freezer for later use. If you can't find any fresh turmeric, you can use turmeric powder. However, you might want to halve the quantity for the recipe, and I will explain to you how to adjust the quantity in the video later. The second ingredient that we are going to need is the fresh chilies. Here, I am using big red chilies, which I have deseeded and it is milder. But if you prefer spicy, you can use bird-eye chilies, which will guarantee gives you a good spicy kick. Don't have fresh chilies? No problem. Just use chili powder or skip the chili altogether if you're not a fan of spicy food. Okay. The next ingredient we need is the lemongrass. We are only going to need just 1 stalk of the lemongrass. Fresh lemongrass can easily be found at any local grocery stores. For the fourth ingredient, we need 3 cloves of fresh garlic. You want to peel them, but don't worry about cutting them because we're going to blend it later anyway. So just leave it as it is. The final ingredient is the kaffir lime leaves. Now, the traditional recipe for this dish is actually using the turmeric leaves. However, I can't find them in the London stores. So I'm going to use these 4 pieces of kaffir lime leaves as a replacement, which is easier to find here. These leaves will give the spices a very nice aroma. If you can find the turmeric leaves, by all means, you can certainly use it. So now let's move on to the protein. Here I have 500 grams of prawns. If you're not into prawns, feel free to use other types of protein such as chicken, beef, pork, fish, or for the vegan option, tofu or any legumes. Lastly, here comes the most important ingredients, which is the coconut milk. I am using this particular brand because it has a very high content of the coconut extract, which is at close to 82%. If you prefer the sauce to be less rich, you can use other brands that has lower coconut extract. This particular brand is commonly found in any Asian grocery stores. Or you can buy online, which I have included the link in the description below. So once we have gathered all of our spices, we are going to blend them using blender. If you have pestle and mortar, you can pound them as well until the spices become almost like a paste. That will be more of a traditional way of doing this. But if you haven't got a pestle and mortar, you can just use a blender and blend the mixture until it's fully blended. I recommend to add a bit of water to help with the blending process. The spice paste should look like this. Not too liquid and still have a little bit of texture. Finally, we are ready to cook. First, you want to add a tablespoon of oil onto a pan. When you see the smoke comes out from the pan, you know that the oil is hot and we are ready to add the spice paste. Using medium heat, you want to stir the paste until the liquid is slightly evaporated and you can smell the nice spices aroma. That should take around 5 to 6 minutes. Then we are going to add the vegetables. Feel free to use any vegetables that you like. They are just what I have in the fridge. This recipe is perfect when you know that you have the vegetables that urgently need to be used. If you don't have any vegetables, just leave them out. As I'm using prawn for this dish, prawn takes less time to cook, so I'm going to add them last. However, if you are using other meats like chicken or beef, I would suggest you add those first, give it a quick stir, then add your vegetables last. If you find the sauce is too dry, you can add half a cup of water. However, if you prefer it to be thicker and on the drier side, just leave it as it is and only add water at the end of the cooking process to adjust the consistency. Now we're going to add some salt and pepper and then continue to stir the vegetables for about 2 minutes. So now it's time to add the prawn and half a can of the coconut milk. The prawn takes only 5 to 6 minutes to cook. You want to stir the dish occasionally so that the prawn can be cooked evenly. Once the prawn turn red, that means they are ready to be served. For the final adjustment, if you find the sauce isn't yellow enough, you can gradually add some turmeric powder until you achieve the color that you're happy with. And the final step is to taste it, add more salt if needed, otherwise it is ready to be served. Look at that bubbling creamy sauce. Serve it with a fluffy warm rice and you're sorted for a meal. This recipe is so simple to make and yet so delicious. If you run out of time to cook and you have any meats or vegetables that needs to be used up, this is the recipe for you. You can double up this recipe, batch make them, and store them in the freezer for later consumption. Here you go guys. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you have tried it, let me know what you think in the comment below. Do you want more videos like this in the future? Please like and subscribe to support my channel. I really enjoy filming more recipes videos for you all to try. Thank you for watching and see you next time.